Chapter 8. The Cardiovascular System. Anatomy of blood vessels. Blood vessels can be categorized into arteries, arterioles, veins, venules, and capillaries. Arteries and veins have walls composed of 3 layers. The tunica intima composed of a single layer of endothelial cells. The tunica media made of smooth muscle, and the tunica adventitia composed of white fibrous connective tissue. Arteries have walls made of these 3 coats or tunics surrounding the hollow core known as a lumen through which blood fluid houses. Arteries are thicker and stronger than veins with 2 major properties: elasticity and contractility. This is necessary because when the 2 ventricles of the heart contract, they inject a large amount of blood into the large aorta and pulmonary trunk. These arteries must be able to expand to accommodate the extra blood. Then, while the ventricles relax, the elastic recoil of the arteries pushes the blood forward. Most parts of our body receive branches from more than one artery. In these areas, the distal ends of these branches unite to form one artery going into the organ. The junction of 2 or more blood vessels is called an anastomosis. Arterioles are small arteries that deliver blood to capillaries. Capillaries are microscopic vessels made of simple squamous epithelial cells, 1 cell layer thick, called endothelium. They are found in close proximity to nearly every cell of the body. They connect arterioles with venules. Their primary critical function is to permit the exchange of nutrients and oxygen and waste and carbon dioxide between the blood and the tissue cells of the body. Their unique wall structure of a single cell layer allows this to occur by diffusion. The substance in the blood must pass through the plasma membrane of just one cell to reach the tissue cell and vice versa. This vital exchange occurs only through capillary walls. Venules are small vessels that connect capillaries to veins. They collect blood from capillaries and drain it into veins. Veins are made of the same 3 coats or tunics as arteries but have less elastic tissue and smooth muscle but more white fibrous connective tissue in the outer layer or adventitia. They also are capable of distension to adapt to variations of blood volume and blood pressure. Veins also contain valves that ensure blood flow in one direction, toward the heart. There is another term that will be encountered when reading about blood vessels. That term is vascular or venous sinuses. These should not be confused with cavities in bones, which are also called sinuses. Venous sinuses are veins with thin walls. This is the 3 layers of the walls of arteries and veins. Major arteries and veins of the body. The aorta is the largest artery of the body. It has numerous branches named either according to the region of the body or organ it goes to or according to the bone its branch may follow. Most of the arteries of the body are in deep and protected areas of the body. Veins are found closer to the surface of the body, and many can be seen superficially. Many of their names are identical to the arteries. The veins of the body converge with either the superior or inferior vena cava, the 2 largest veins of the body, which empty into the right atrium of the heart. This is the major arteries of the systemic circulation. The ascending aorta branches. The right and left coronary arteries branch off the ascending aorta and supply the heart. Aortic arch branches. The first branch of the aortic arch is the brachiocephalic artery, which divides into the right common carotid artery, which transports blood to the right side of the head and neck. and the right subclavian artery, which transports blood to the upper right limb. The second branch of the aortic arch is the left common carotid artery, which divides into the left internal carotid artery that supplies the brain and the left external carotid artery that supplies muscles and skin of the neck and head. The third branch of the aortic arch is the left subclavian artery, which branches into the vertebral artery that supplies part of the brain. In the axillary area of the body, the subclavian artery is now known as the axillary artery, which continues down the arm as the brachial artery. Near the elbow joint that divides into the radial and ulnar arteries, which supply the forearm. Thoracic aorta branches. There are 10 pairs of intercostal arteries that supply muscles of the thorax. Bronchial arteries supply the 2 lungs. Esophageal arteries go to the esophagus, and phrenic arteries supply the diaphragm muscle. Abdominal aorta branches. The first branch is the celiac trunk, which has 3 branches. The left gastric artery, which goes to the stomach, the splenic artery, which supplies the spleen, and the common hepatic artery, which goes to the liver. The superior mesenteric artery supplies the small intestine and the colon. The right and left renal arteries go to the kidneys. The right and left gonadal ovarian in female and testicular in males arteries serve the gonads. The lumbar arteries are several pairs that go to the muscles of the abdomen and walls of the trunk of the body. The inferior mesenteric artery is quite small and serves the rest of the large intestine. The right and left common iliac arteries is the final branch of the abdominal aorta. Each divides into an internal iliac artery, which goes to the thigh. Here it is called the femoral artery, and its branch is called the deep femoral artery, which supplies the thigh with blood. At the knee, the femoral artery is now called the popliteal artery, which divides into the anterior and posterior tibial arteries, which supply the leg and foot. The anterior tibial artery then terminates as the dorsalis pedis artery, which supplies the dorsal part of the foot. This is the major veins of the body. Most of the arteries of the body are in deep band protected areas of the body. Veins, however, tend to be closer to the body surface and are easily seen through the skin. Deeper veins follow the courses of the major arteries, and their names are identical to the arteries. Veins converge on either the superior or inferior vena cava. Veins draining the head and arms merge into the superior vena cava. Those draining the lower parts of the body merge into the inferior vena cava. Veins merging into the superior vena cava. The radial and ulnar veins, which drain the forearm, unite to form the brachial vein, which drains the arm and empties into the axillary vein in the armpit area. The cephalic vein drains the lateral part of the arm and connects into the axillary vein. The basilic vein drains the medial part of the arm and joins the brachial vein. The basilic and brachial veins are joined near the elbow by the median cubital vein. It is this vein that is usually used for drawing blood. The subclavian vein drains blood from the arm via the axillary vein and drains blood from the muscles and skin of the head region via the external jugular vein. The vertebral vein drains the back of the head. The internal jugular vein also drains the dural sinus of the brain in the head. The right and left brachiocephalic veins are large veins that receive blood from the subclavian, vertebral, and internal jugular veins. It then joins the superior vena cava. The azygos vein drains the thorax and also merges with the superior vena cava just before it enters the heart. Veins merging into the inferior vena cava, the anterior and posterior tibial veins and the peroneal vein drain the calf and the foot. The posterior tibial vein is called the popliteal vein at the knee and the femoral vein in the thigh. The femoral vein is called the external iliac vein as it goes into the pelvis. The great saphenous veins are the longest veins of the body. They drain the superficial aspects of the leg and begin as the dorsal venous arch in the foot and eventually merge with the femoral vein in the thigh. The right and left common iliac veins are formed by the union of the external and internal iliac veins. These drain the pelvis. The common iliac veins unite to form the inferior vena cava in the abdominal cavity. The right and left gonadal veins drain the gonads and eventually join the left renal vein. The right and left renal veins drain the kidneys. The hepatic portal vein drains the organs of the digestive tract and goes to the liver. The right and left hepatic veins drain the liver.